How's it going, guys? Joe here. Today I'm going to be doing a live stream. I'm going to try doing something with my Fitbit. So let's just get to it. So I'm kind of excited because even though I'm using my laptop and stuff, I have a setup where I can actually use my microphone with it directly now. I got an adapter for it. Whoa. Sorry, I had the live stream pull up on the computer, so understandably that caused a little bit of confusion for me. I just wanted to make sure it worked. So anyway, the whole point is, this is going to be my space for right now. I still have that other one, of course, so I did recent ones a couple months ago, but for a while this is where I'm going to be. So I don't have my green screen set up or anything like that yet, but what I am excited about is the fact that I also have an adapter where I can have more ports, and even though I didn't bring my microphone cord, I found a really good temporary solution. Use my long USB cable with my USB audio adapter. It works really well. So, at least in here, I should be able to talk decently far away, and the sound should actually be decent, unlike my last live streams I've pretty much ever done. So, anyway, let's talk about what we're going to do today. So, today I'm going to be doing some programming on my Fitbit. So, essentially, what I want to do is. Sorry, I'm kind of distracted by this live stream. I just have it pulled up on here just to kind of see how it works. But essentially, obviously, it's several seconds behind. So I'm going to go do the usual YouTube twaddle. If you want to like the video, go ahead. But I'm not going to do it because that's dishonest. If anything, I would do this more than liking it. But I'm not going to do that either because that's dishonest on the source and rating my. Obviously, what you do with your own source is up to you, but you know. So, yeah. Wow. Holy crap, we're nested right now. Even this overlay is behind that. Oh, wait, it's getting nested. It's getting nested. I didn't even think that would happen. Why don't we let this occur for a little while? Sorry, I'm just having a little bit of fun here. I was also kind of exploring the poll feature just to see if that worked. So I may as well do that while this is running, because we can be very nested here. Matter of fact, it would obviously be better if I put this in full screen, wouldn't it? But then again, I don't think this would necessarily be possible either. This is why you wonder why there's a long line in traffic. The reason why that long line happens is because obviously when the light turns green, even if there's like 10 cars, it takes a while before the 10th one can go, because first car should go, then the second one can, and there's a couple more seconds of delay for each car. And that's why there's so much delay on this nested right here. The reason why this happens so many times is because of the delay, essentially. Well, the reason why they're all so different is because of that delay. That's really what I meant to say. For the same reasons, that traffic thing. I don't even know why I brought that up. Anyway, so yeah, there's apparently a poll feature. Let me see if I have it here. I want to see if I can make it come up. Where is it? I clicked the poll button, but I can't really see. where that is. Oh, because I had a poll already. So essentially, I think I created a new one. I'm not even sure where it is. Ah, here we go. Yeah, so that first poll that you could, I think, see is the first one I tried. So it could be like, what do you think? Okay, so I just created a poll. I've never actually done it before, so I apologize that I'm on a tangent. That's of course why this live stream is as late as it is. So there's a question. What do you think? Good, bad, meh? Right now, I'm gonna say meh. I know that's dishonest too, but oh, it's gonna be hard to get much more than this. So, I think at this point it would make sense for me to pull my camera back up. Oh, yeah, you're not gonna be able to see that. That's too bad. I was hoping it would like make its way out of the nested layer, but it's not going to. So anyway, let's focus on what we're doing. I've never done the poll feature, but apparently I can. I just discovered that today. So yeah, I'm gonna actually close out the live stream because there's no reason for me to have it open. So what are we doing today? Well, we're going to be doing some programming on my Fitbit. So essentially what I'm doing right now is all that lucid dreaming stuff I've been doing, to be honest with you, a lot of it is misinformation. I will be making a voice recording where I discuss this, and I'll try to remember to update the description if I to the link to it for whenever that comes out. I'll try to remember to update and program my prospective memory. So I did a reality test a little bit ago and I determined that I was awake, and I think I've been in this reality since then. But if you are a lucid dreamer, do a reality test. Don't take my word for anything though. But yeah, the point is I'm gonna discuss like some of the misinformation I've done, mainly because I haven't done my research, so I've unintentionally got stuff wrong. Anyway, so the thing with my Fitbit is, so Fitbits may not really be that reliable because it only measures sleep charge based on heart rate, motion, and standardized chart, like what you would expect it to look like. It kind of determines what's most likely, but it might not be right. Daniel Love was talking about the device that's going to be coming out soon. It's a EEG device for tracking sleep. It's going to be more accurate because it could pretty much detect brain waves a lot more accurately than Fitbits and any other smartwatch that only do it based on movement, that kind of thing. You can imagine reading brain waves is a lot more accurate. So, but what I have determined is it seems to accurately be able to detect when I wake up from a dream. Like, it'll show REM for however long, then it'll show awake whenever I wake up from a dream. So that seems to be pretty accurate. There was actually one time when it was inaccurate. It reported like about 30 minutes of REM, then 20 minutes of light sleep, then awake. But when I woke up, I clearly remember waking up from a dream. So either that REM was wrong, or those 20 minutes of light sleep was also REM. Like, I may have actually had it for like 50 minutes. I think that was the day that... No. I was going to say that was the day it felt like it lasted a really long time, but I don't think it was. That's not the point. So, what are we going to actually be doing today? Well, since it can accurately detect when I wake up, I was thinking of recording some sensor data to see if I could detect based on the sensor data, like if there's a correlation of when my sleep chart reports me waking up from a dream. I want to see if there's a correlation that's distinctive to that versus literally any other event. Because what I would like to do is be able to have it wake me up after I've woken up from a specific REM cycle. Like, if I wake up from, let's say I want to, I like to go based on when I woke up from REM, because then I know after a certain amount of time my next REM cycle will naturally occur. And it's not as much of a disruption of sleep as the actual wake back to bed method from my understanding. So I like to do this as opposed to that, because my chances do seem to still be pretty decent regardless. So what I'm going to actually do is try to have it detect when I wake up from REM. So obviously the Fitbit does technically have an alarm feature built right into it that essentially does a smart wake. Not sure if you can see that, but it's got the smart wake functionality. Essentially what that does is if it detects I've woken up to 30 minutes before the set alarm, it'll go off, because it makes sense for me to naturally get up then, because, well, I naturally woke up from a dream or something like that. That way I can wake up more naturally and stuff and receive the benefits of that, which is not feeling so groggy and grumpy or whatever. I usually don't feel super grumpy when getting up, but I hate getting up in the morning because I'm not a morning person. So I like to wake up naturally because it does help with that a little bit. In fact, if I naturally wake up from a dream, I might sleep for like 10 or 15 more minutes just because, but I'm probably not going to be a deep sleeper REM, so even then I'm still in a sense getting up naturally. Or if I did like a quick little morning nap after like getting ready in the morning or something like that, I apologize for going off on another tangent, but essentially what I'm going for is that smart wake. The thing with that is it can only go 30 minutes past, and that may not be the right target for when I wake up from a dream, because oftentimes my circadian rhythm right now, or circadian, whatever the term is, between 7 and 7:30, that seems to be a pretty decent time for me to do this. I'll naturally wake up from a dream sometime between 7 and 7:30. But sometimes it might even be like 15 minutes earlier than that. So you can only do up to 30 minutes. I've sent a feature request. Apparently other people have as well. But apparently it's not requested enough for them to implement a custom time range other than 30 minutes. So what I would like to do is look at the sensor data, see if there is a correlation. Because if there is, then what I would like is to be able to have it wake. Let's say that I want it to be able to wake me up from a dream I have after 6 a.m. Let's say, like sometime after 6, whether it's 6:30, 6:15, 6:45, because it can be that varied. But let's say I don't want it to wake me up from a dream till after 6 a.m. for doing this. That would be pretty ideal if it could do that with such a great time range, because it's not going to vary that much if I have a consistent sleep schedule and stuff, but realistically, how often do I get a consistent sleep schedule? Not that often. So what I would like to do is see if the sensor data has any correlation with when I wake up from a dream, if there's anything special that occurs when that happens. Because if so, then I'd like to see if I can program that so that it could wake me up from the dream I have after 6, for example. And could even be, might not even be till 7, who knows. That's what I would like to be able to have this app do, to kind of do that automatically. It'll like essentially go off when I naturally wake up from a dream after a specified time. And I'm going to use sensor data to try to detect when this occurs. But I don't know any correlation, so I have to collect data first to see if there's any correlation to detect all this. So the data that I'm going to be working with essentially is the time the data was collected, the heart rate, as well as accelerometer, I believe, is the motion, or else the gyroscope. I can't remember. One of them kind of has to do with a relative position, the other is an absolute position. Like, no matter where I am, let's say this is considered 6 for X. Well, then all of a sudden here it might be considered 3. Then I go back here, it's still 6. But what I want is the amount of motion and not like a position thing. So I want like a relative amount of movement versus absolute. I think that's the right terminology for it. So that's what I would use. Either accelerometer or gyroscope or whatever. I have a program with all this in it. But I need to figure out exactly how I'm going to work with that data. But I also need to figure out, well, not only how to work with that data, but what's the right term for what I'm looking for. Yeah, I need to collect the data, essentially. So what I've actually done so far is I've written a program just to kind of brainstorm exactly how I'm going to accomplish this. I have a P5.js sketch, which is mainly just like a template for right now. So essentially, I usually zoom in on videos. Okay, so essentially what I have here is, what I was going to do is, okay, so how does data collection work exactly? Well, that's a little bit tricky. Fitbits can only store so much data at a time. There's only like a 64 kilobyte, I forget what they call it, like a pool or cluster of storage. Like you can only collect 64 kilobytes worth of data. And there's even a chance that the program that's running is using part of that. It's people were saying that this is like the old Commodore 64, the one of the very first computers. I don't know much about it, but yeah, it's not a lot of memory, right? But what I would like to do with the sensor data is essentially collect data every 30 seconds. And I did some calculations assuming that it does it for a 10-hour night. Usually I don't get to sleep quite that long, but lately I've been trying to keep it around 8 hours because I found that has worked really well with lucid dreaming and dream recall in general. So I've been trying to get more sleep in that regard. So yeah. So I'm going to essentially be collecting data throughout the entire night, right? So, because I want to be able to look at the sleep chart and see if I can figure out if there's a correlation with the sensor data that's being used to calculate this. I may or may not have luck with this, but I'm going to try this idea. It's really complicated and ridiculous, to be honest with you. So, yeah, see if there's a correlation. Anyway, so how do I collect this data anyway? So of course I can store things in an array, but how do I access this data? Well, there's a few different ways, and I've given up on pretty much all of them because it's just beyond the scope of what I do at the moment. I tried using a messenger thing, but I think you have to use a phone for that. I tried, but I couldn't get the messenger work, and I might be doing something really simple but wrong. But I tried looking it up, and I did not see very good answers. Apparently, everybody who does it knows how to do this without problems. So that option is kind of out for me. Um, the other one that involves online, either online or that messaging thing, I forget what it's called, some file system thing. Neither one of them actually works for me, so uh, what I'm gonna have to do instead, I think what's gonna be the simplest is creating, like, having a log right on the screen and making it so I can easily scroll. So I would obviously like to have it collect heart rate and then movement, amount of movement in X, Y, Z, or Z. Um, yeah, that's pretty much what I want to do. So I'm gonna have it just show up on the screen, and I think if I close out the app, I'll lose the data. So I'm gonna need to access actual data, like the sleep chart and stuff, on the computer, then do like a side-by-side comparison based on the time. So I'll show you. This is like not even a valid program. It was pretty much for planning purely. So I have also the thing with the messenger, you can only send like a kilobyte at a time, I believe. So I was trying to write a program that could split it up essentially, split up the data so it only sends a little bit at a time. Um, Essentially, it would collect data every 30 seconds. So I determined that based on the size, I ran this function right here, which I looked it up online, but it's essentially supposed to figure out the size of a variable, I think, or even an array. I was using a two-dimensional array. It seems to be able to do it based on that still. So I think it stringifies it, which must get rid of the array. Then it does purely all the characters and counts it, maybe. I don't know. But based on my estimation, I think it's going to take about 20 bytes of data for 20 bytes of data per entry. Worst case, assuming that it's got a time. I'll show you what the format is. So I'm going to have an array, and it's going to have the time, the heart rate, and then X, Y, Z for movement. And then this essentially stores whether the data actually got sent or not. Because since I can only send like 40 at a time, so if I'm collecting data every 30 seconds, I want to maybe send the data every 20 minutes because that's close to a kilobyte, just a little bit under. So essentially, what I'm doing is assembling data essentially from the main array, because it can store everything all at once, but not everything can be sent at once. That's where this send data comes into play, and it's always going to get modified for each data that actually gets sent. So to send data, I have to assemble it in the send data array. Essentially, I figure out the next bit of data that didn't get sent yet. So essentially right here, I figure out the index of what hasn't been sent yet in the array that stores everything. So essentially, I kind of loop through the array backwards to figure out the last data that wasn't sent yet. And this index 5 represents whether the data was sent or not. Yeah. Essentially, it's 0 if it hasn't been sent yet, or 1 if it has, I believe. So, essentially, yeah, it loops through the array. If it's 0, then it keeps going. That data hasn't been sent yet. So I want to go to the last place where it has been sent. And then 1 over is where I want to start sending data because I haven't sent that yet. So it gets the index of that position, starting position where data hasn't been sent yet. And then here that stores, it gets the index, of course. And then it sends 40 data points, so I run a for loop to do that with 40 points. And then it sets each index and send data to whatever is in the data array. And I verify this and it works good. And then it sets the index of that particular piece of data to 1, indicating that it's been sent or at least assembled to send. And I don't know if that would work 100%, but that's kind of what my thought process was in terms of sending the data from that array. But I really do not think that's going to work. So this essentially filled it up with a bunch of random data in the format that it's probably going to be collected in, most likely. So heart rate, on an average night for me, I found that could be anywhere from 52 to 150 on average. The point is, that's what heart rate would look like, and then I assume XYZ would be anywhere between 0 and 30. I really do not know. And yeah, this actually, in P5, this is how you get the hour, minute, and second. And then this indicates that it has been sent. So I made it so that some data was sent, I guess. But realistically, I created a loop with 120 items with all the same data. This is like the worst case. And I determined that's about 21 bytes per each entry. And I wanted to see if the sequential thing worked. So I made it so the first 40 appeared as sent, and then I wanted to see what wasn't sent yet. I ran this in P5. This is really just a blueprint almost. So essentially, I wanted to send data every 20 minutes. It's roughly 21 bytes per entry, and I assume that's about 25,200 bytes, assuming that would be like the worst case, storing the maximum amount of data possible. This is the format of the array. And then, of course, to send the data, I would be running a set interval every 20 minutes, I guess. But that's not how I'm going to be doing things anymore. If none of that made sense, don't worry. I'm not even doing this anymore because it's not going to work. The reason it's not going to work is because I just cannot get the Messenger API on the Fitbit to work. And what I'm going to do from there is what I'm going to demonstrate here. So I'm going to try to see if I can figure out how to collect data on the Fitbit. So I'm going to pull up Fitbit Studio because that's where the development actually happens. Wrong link. So then I just really have to sign in. That's pretty much it. So this is a project that I have for right now, but realistically I'm going to want it in a different app later on. I just copied and pasted something I've already written in the past and kind of modified accordingly. That's why this program is as big as it is. This is like the old program right here. But yeah, gyroscope is what I'm actually using. That's relative motion. So I was seeing if I could figure out also console log, like if there's a way for me to access the log on the Fitbit app, but there's unfortunately no way to do that. As far as I'm aware, it just logs stuff about the program in general, like errors starting or something like that. So yeah, this is with the messaging API. You first have to import the messaging service, and then this would make it so down here it says that it's ready to send or receive messages, but this never worked. So I ended up putting it in a function just to see if a function needed to get triggered, but that's not necessary for an event listener normally in JavaScript. So it did make a difference. Let's see. So I haven't really done anything special yet, although I did add data. This is essentially gonna add data to the array that it collects, but like I said, I'm probably not even gonna be using an array now. I'll probably just have text in the same format. That's kind of what we're gonna try to find out here. So what I want to do is see if I can figure out how to make scrollable text on the Fitbit. I think if I'm not mistaken, I have a bookmark for that. Yeah. Yeah, I have this link right here. So see how this person has a log and they can scroll through it. I believe this is right on the Fitbit itself. This is what I would like to do. So I think this is a solution to, wait a minute, so this is what the person does for scrolling, I think. So let's see, we're gonna be running this kind of code, I think. So on the Fitbit, I know what Fitbit sends because my second ionic malfunction, ironically, just a little bit after the warranty expired. You think that's so ironic that two of them would do it right around the same amount of time that the warranty expired? Sounds like a purposeful design tactic to me. A sorry, not sorry. I don't know that for sure, but it sure sounds like it. I hope that the Fitbit Sense doesn't do the same thing. It's one of the other Fitbits that actually supports development. The Sense and the Versa. Oh, what? I did not know there's a SDK 6.0. I wonder what it has. What does the SDK 6.0 have that's special? 4.3 supports more targets like the Ionic, which is what I used to have, and then variations of the Versa. So of course this is the main JavaScript code, and then this is almost like HTML in a sense. So I think what we want is I'm not sure if we're gonna have to take this exact SVG code right here. I made a duplicate of the app, so oops. So it looks like we're using a text area property thing. I think that's how it would be formatted. And then in the main code, we've got document imported already. I think you need that if you're interacting with HTML-like stuff. I think I'm actually gonna copyright, not copyright, I think I'm gonna copy right here. I think it's worth seeing what this does because now I have a feeling it's going to overlay what's already there. Let's see what this code actually does. So I think, I'm hoping anyway that we can modify what's here. This is like the sample code and this can't change over time. Hopefully we could do like the element.text. So I think the element is called scroll. So in theory, I think I should be able to do like a const scroll equals document get element by ID scroll, and then I should be able to set its text to hopefully what I want. So in order to actually connect this Fitbit for development, I have to go into the settings. Not sure if you can see that. I'm gonna hope you sort of can. Developer bridge, enable. It's essentially connecting at this point. So I think it's gonna take a little while to set. Oh, it's connected. Sweet. That's the time reverse psychology finally worked with this. So I'm gonna run it and we'll see if it works. Interesting how it took longer to compile this time. It's on there and it's red and it scrolls. So it of course shows the current time. I want to see if I can modify the region to be below that time. And what I'm hoping is that you could scroll for a while. That's something that's worth testing, to see exactly how much we're able to scroll. Since I'm going to be collecting like 1,200 data points, I think we should see if we can scroll up to 1,200. So I actually don't really like the fact that the text is red. That's where this could be changed to, I assume, white. And then what I was also going to change is the height. Oh, the height's 200%. That's probably what allows it to be off the screen. So it's like 100. And actually, the height isn't really what I care about. What I care about is the positioning. It's ending at Silum. And of course now the text is in fact white. SC Silum. Where's that? Yeah, it doesn't store everything. Oh dear. It's gonna have to be able to store everything. Let's see what 1,000% does. That's how it's able to be off the screen. And then we have a scroll functionality that we copy and pasted. So, okay, so that works. So what I'm actually going to do is get rid of this text, because I'm going to be setting that in here. So I think what I'm going to do is the log, and it's an element called, so we define the element here. We're not going to be doing any styling. We pretty much did that all in here. Scroll, that's what it's called. And I click here and it scrolls. That's hilarious. Scroll. So I assume that right now we're not going to get any text, so I'm going to run it, and while I'm doing that, we should be able to say the log.text equals, yeah, nothing's showing up now. Testing scroll. So that's a new line character right here. It essentially hits enter. That's how you type out enter in a lot of situations. But I really hope this works. Uh-oh. Wow, it's just having trouble installing. Ah, perfect. So it works, but it only shows the first 3 letters. New element text larger than buffer. What's that mean? Oh, it doesn't do any new line thing at all, because it's just programmed according to a width and height, and it's just continuous. It automatically hits enter, so it'll fit whatever it can, I guess. But the fact that it did only the first 3 letters is kind of interesting. Let's see what this does. Consider increasing text length. The log.text length. I think that's what this is. I don't really know. Equals. What is the length? Like, I don't even know if this is the right format. Probably gonna error out. What? Did I actually forget a percent? I mean a semicolon. Line 67. As opposed to percent's not allowed. What? Length equals, oops, 100. Let's just do that minus 10 thing as well. I'm not sure if that's going to work or not. Let's try that once. How long does it take to take a screenshot? Because if it is relatively quick, that's how I can show you what's on here. it still shows the same amount of characters. JavaScript set text area. So document.get element by ID. What? Ha. Good job looking at sources. Inner text. Fitbit SDK change text area text. I don't really do this a whole lot, as you can see, so my skills really aren't that great. Text dash length. Equals, they said 1024. I think that's worth at least trying. And then we might have to change the MDY and stuff. Well, it fits the whole thing. That's fantastic. How about a new line? Alright, let's see how long it takes to take a screenshot next time. So I'm literally doing programming on my watch. Pretty strange, huh? So this is essentially what it looks like right now. Yeah, this is not very practical. I'm sorry guys, if this was a lot faster, this is how I would show you stuff. Sorry about not being as professional. And if you don't like my professionalism, then that's what the dislike button's for. Because your opinion matters. That's why those buttons exist. Apparently this thing doesn't like what I'm doing because it disconnected. Computer, you weren't designed to have any opinions. It's connecting right now. There we go. Let's see if the screenshot actually works. Uh-oh. It was just freezing. Okay. Of course the icon's not very great. It's just test app now. It's an icon that I made just for testing purposes. Okay, let's see if screenshot actually happens to work. Error taken. Would you stop disconnecting? Honestly, the connection is pretty terrible. The local connection is pretty inconsistent. Is it always when I take a screenshot, or is it something else that just happens to not be working very well? According to the access point, it all works just fine. Come on, Fitbit, turn on. It's kind of frozen. And then meanwhile, I will be completely unprofessional and go all the way to the fridge and grab a snack. Be very unprofessional. I'm kidding. Uh, my Fitbit actually rebooted. Something is really going on here. This is very troublesome. It rebooted itself. It must be a glitch with taking a screenshot. I don't think I've ever done it on this one yet. I don't have the latest software update on here. That could play a role. Also, I've been having a lot of Steam issues on my Mac recently, and I almost wonder if updates on there could be playing a role too. Let's just try taking a screenshot one more time. Okay, now that you've been able to clear your head, can you take a screenshot once you connect? It's just connecting right now. So, yeah, essentially what I'm trying to do is collect data with the text on that screen. That's essentially what I'm trying to accomplish right now. And I've never had on-screen scrollable text in my life here, so I think we should max out the length and see if we did that correctly. I wonder if we had to specify the length because that's what JavaScript uses versus that HTML or whatever. By the way, that the index.view that we were on before, that's the HTML file where we added styling and everything. There's another on my Ionic, it was called index.gui. Oh, we're connected. Okay, now let's see if we can take a screenshot while being sensical. Oh, let's see if we can take a screenshot of the connected page. I forgot to open up the app. Yeah, I think taking a screenshot on the Sense right now is kind of a dumb idea. I have to update the firmware on here maybe. I don't know if that would fix it. Or it's literally the connection causing problems. That's entirely possible too. Sorry, just making sure the mic still works, which it does. Yeah, I can't believe I'm actually using this on my laptop. I am short a few ports, so I unfortunately cannot use this thing. And I did get a USB hub, however, I did not get one that plugged into external power, and I regret that. So the thing with USB hubs is you can either get one that you plug in directly to the USB port, or one that you can also plug into the wall for power, because the USB hub, it's only going to get as much power as the port provides, and you can imagine how that would be a problem with multiple ports. The bandwidth and power gets split between all those ports from just one port. So by plugging my webcam into there, the power just drains out. This microphone's plugged into it, and it doesn't seem to be causing problems. Keyboard and mouse and the microphone are the only things plugged into it right now. But had I gotten one where you plug it into the wall, I think there'd be enough power for the webcam as well as the Stream Deck. I really wish I could use it, but 9 up ports. I'm using the webcam on my other ports. At least it works with the keyboard and mouse and this microphone. So that's a relief. So yeah, I'm literally using a USB cable for it. It's stuck. It's come to your senses. It's not gonna work. Honestly, I was kind of joking around about how my Fitbit sense really needs to come to its senses. That was not intentional when I originally did that, but it's ironically kind of true. The cables are all over the place. I really should consider doing this with my Intel NUC instead. I have at least a couple more USB ports on it, and I can even use my Thunderbolt dock to add 2 more. But then I want to be able to use this computer. My main computer, that's back at home. I'm about an hour and a half away from it, so, but I can't remote into it with any desk right now. Oh, well, we're connected. Sorry. Oh, yeah, you're seeing the screen. Let's just code and be a reasonable person here. So test and scroll the quick brown dog jumped over the lazy fox. And I would have done it the other way around, but I didn't think of it at the time, so the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. That could. So apparently 1024 is a pretty reasonable length. Would you say the length of 1024 is pretty reasonable? Like it enters automatically in the place it should. So I'm gonna see how much I could scroll down. I would like to be able to store 1200 lines. I'm gonna see if that's possible now, because that is the next step. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm gonna get to everything, because this is when I would like to have supper and stuff, and I had some other things planned tonight that sucks. I would really like to start collecting data, but I can't until I get this all figured out. So before I forget to switch to the screen, better do it. I'm not doing anything with IP addresses this time, so that's not a problem. Oh, and I was gonna try adding a caption stream like Google's captioner, but unfortunately, there was an extension that can actually play the microphone directly to Chrome, but the caption thing doesn't work. I would like to be able to use Google's captioner with my video and then insert an overlay, but that's not going to happen, unfortunately. I tried, but auto-generated captions should work okay, I think. It's going to be so much better, though, because for once I have a better mic when I'm using this laptop. So, yeah. Anyway. Let's see. Right. How do we add 1200 lines of numbers? Well, we could create a for loop for let I equals 0, I is less than 1200, I plus plus. Then I think what I'll be doing is I would create a variable that stores the text. It will append one line at a time, I guess. So let's numbers equals. It's ironically going to have to be a string. So I'm just going to say numbers plus equals I plus new line. I think that should do numbers 1 through 1200. Oh, and actually before we do any of this, what I would like to do is determine the bound of the default bound of this. So x is 5, so I'll probably have to set y equal to 30 maybe. Yeah, something with the screenshot's not working. I don't know if it's a bug or what. The Y position being 30 is definitely not correct. 100. It didn't even seem like it made any difference at all, actually. Oh, it did. So that's with Y at 100. So it can go up, of course, but certainly doesn't have to. Oh, and Y. Oh, let's set this Y here instead of this. I don't know why I didn't think of that before. So this should be, let's say 125. That certainly didn't work. It didn't work initially, but when I touched it, it immediately teleported down there. That's correct. So I think I'm going to set it here and there. That's what I'll do. So what it looks like is, I apologize for the stream cutting out. The connection's like pretty good, but not consistent, if that makes sense. Yeah, so I can scroll up if I want, but that's the default starting position. So let's try the numbers once. So, oh, that's a good idea. Sometimes I forget to show the screen. What if I don't allow myself to bring the cursor back to this screen until I turn it back? Or, I have an idea. Since I pretty much never show what's on that screen right there, why don't I use the automatic scene switcher, and when I'm on that monitor, just show my main webcam? Since that seems like that's all I ever do. And it really, I don't think that's the worst idea, actually. I apologize about being very unprofessional once again. Once again, the dislike button's there. If you want to hit it, click it. So, let's see here. Automatic scene switcher. I don't think that's what I use. Might be. It looks different than I'm used to, though. How in the world does this work? So this is what the automatic scene switcher looks like. Okay, that'll help a little. Then you can at least not miss out on what I'm trying to do here. What is this? I was hoping to like specify an XY region. I don't know. OBS scene switcher. Advanced scene switcher. I think that's what I'm really looking for. So, unfortunately, I may have to reinstall OBS for that to work. That sucks. Why can't this one be built into OBS instead? Does it work for Mac? Mac has so many glitches with OBS that just don't exist in Windows. So, unfortunately, I do think I'm going to have to restart. Run the provided installer. Where? I really don't want to compile any source code if it's possible. I don't think I had to when I first installed it. What? I have never had that download speed actually happen before. That's the fastest download speed I've ever had here. It's always like half a megabyte per second. What? I never in my entire life have I had that download speed over the course of more than a year. Sorry, I'm just baffled. Like, speedtest.net suggests that speed is possible, but I never actually get it when I want to download something. Like, Google Drive will never do that. Just out of curiosity, does it right now? I have to check. I'm sorry. I'm baffled by this. So that's a 3.2 gigabyte file. Now that's the usual slow speeds. Google Drive doesn't seem like it's as fast as it should be. How about upload? I want to try to upload something. This 2.2 gigabyte file. 1 minute. So the upload speed is kind of being utilized. Yeah, it's not even maxing out this stream either. Cheapers. 1 or 2 minutes to upload 2.2 gigabytes. I've never been able to utilize those kind of speeds. It never works when I want to. Then of course the one time I know whatever happens, it does. I just want to download it one more time just to see what this reports. Wow, that's insane. So that's almost like 100 megabit or something. That's crazy. Well, alright, let's continue. So I think the scene switcher, unfortunately, will have to wait Oh, yeah, so I think actually I can still stream to the same video even after. Yeah, I can still stream to the same video even if OBS does um, close out. They'll just do a jump cut. No big deal. Now I got the untrusted developer problem, and to address that, you essentially go to privacy and security. Mainly under here. Yeah, here we go. So, sheepers. I have to take care of that free space. So, fortunately, I could use biometrics. Biometrics is pretty cool. I just use my fingerprint instead of a password. Why? Screw it, just I'm guessing OBS is gonna have to restart, so I think we're back. Screw it. It's not worth screwing around with. It didn't work. The reason why I wanted permission to access the downloads folder is in case I wanted to be able to delete the file, like you install a PKG or whatever. The installer might want to delete the file once it's been installed. That's what it needed permission for. But anyway, I cannot seem to find the advanced scene switcher. I'm just seeing if it's anywhere else. Yeah, no, there's nothing I can do, I don't think. Well, I think I have to do it manually, but I'm not screwing around with that now. So let's put that thing to the test. See how many rows we can have. So the text equals, actually let's see what numbers is before doing that. So console log numbers. To be honest with you, I do want to be able to eat dinner. So I don't think I'm going to even get this finished tonight. Oh, so console. Numbers are correct. Of course, it only goes up to 69. That figures nice. Is it frozen? That's really all it's gonna do. I wonder why. Of course, Fitbit can't handle anything beyond that. I guess Fitbit is satisfied with 69, huh? Well, let's try it anyway. Numbers. So we got numbers essentially. Goes beyond that. It's going up to 100. It goes up to 114. Is that only because of the height being 1,000%? You are seeing it. a chance at, so 114, I want to be able to do 1200, so it's 1,000%. 114, well, 1200 divided by 114. So that's roughly, so 11 times. So I'll give it 11,000% once. Was going to do 10,000, but that wouldn't have even been enough. Sorry, I know you probably thought I was dumb trying to do this kind of calculation, and I started to realize it towards the beginning. Invalid value 11,000 in scroll. It only goes up to 10 now. That kind of sucks. If I took out the first 2.5 hours, suppose I could take out the first 2.5 hours. Let's see, so if it's 1,200 for 10 hours, there's 120 per hour times 7.5, 900. 900 is a little bit less. 5,000 is invalid. Is anything above 1,000 valid? HTML max height. Max height percent. There's probably a max. Oh, I did max out at 2,000. New text element larger than buffer. So it scrolls up to 230. So maybe the height. Let's see if 200% still goes up to 230. So if it does, and that text length actually correlates with it. And that might be the number of bytes. Maybe. Oh, so that's 22. Then it kind of freezes. 1,000. The connection hasn't been too bad. Did it go up to 230 yet? 114. Oh, so that is based on the height. That's too bad. What we could do is create multiple text areas and stack them. How easy would that be? How easy would that be though? Let's just create like 5. numbers 2 equals, sorry, sorry, this is kind of dumb, but I just want to see if it's possible to like, is there an easy formula to understand? Honestly, this is probably all I am gonna do tonight, probably, because this went on longer than I thought. Because the starting Y position is really what's different. Oh boy, that's... But... MDY must be like... I don't know. What I was hoping is... Oh, so this is supposed to be like scroll 2. And Y would be like 500 or something. And we would have to create a new variable. The log 2, scroll 2. So that's like 375. The log 2, that text equals numbers 2. I really don't think this is gonna work, but honestly, there's like a special formula that's easy to use. Of course, it teleports way up. Oh, and this is supposed to be scroll 2. Possible we'll have to create like separate events. Maybe not. No, we won't. No, this actually worked, believe it or not. I just had the Y wrong. So instead of like 375, let's do, well, instead of 500 rather, let's do like 200. So then this becomes 75. I can't believe that actually works. That may be our solution. I don't know. It's kind of a dumb one, but it's one that might work if we can figure out a good formula. Numbers are too close. Out of bounds. What's out of bounds? 350, 125 plus what equals 351? No, 225. Were we getting that error the first time? I don't recall. This is a bigger project than I thought it would be. We're not getting the error. Every time I touch the screen again, it re-teleports. That's the problem. Why is it re-teleported in the first time? I think this should only happen once. So let's scroll equals false. if not scroll equals, I don't know if I can do that. I don't even know if it's part of the same statement. It doesn't fix the problem, so it might not be part of the statement. I don't know, they didn't have a semicolon at first, so who knows. And they didn't even do an end brackets. Let's try that. This may not even be the right thing to touch. It's not. Yeah, there's a chance that this also, which event is actually happening? This is a way to check like where things are occurring. Now things are frozen. Failed to create a messaging session. Yeah, let's take that out. It's causing nothing but trouble now. I don't think that's what was going on here though, but it shouldn't be doing that anyway. Interesting. Hey, wait a minute. What it seems to be is whether I scroll up or down. No. This seems to only happen when I'm scrolling like up. It's like MDY shouldn't get updated or something. Let's see. Okay, so if not scroll then I just want scroll to become true. And if not scrolled, let's reconnect this because it's not connected anymore. Sorry, this isn't really that fun. Oh, battery's low. It's right for it to be low, I guess. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to call it a night. I want to eat supper anyway, so I'm probably hungry, but I'm not noticing it at the moment because I'm concentrating on this. But at this point, it does kind of make sense to wrap up. I think what I'll do off camera is figure out a scrolling thing and see if I can get that all figured out. Then I'll show you. Then we'll have another live stream to move on from there. Because another struggle we're going to run into is figuring out exactly how the accelerometer data is going to work, or the gyroscope data, like XYZ. Because like if the frequency is 5, it seems to update once every 5 seconds. That seems to be what's occurring. But the question is that really, like, is it the total movement in 5 seconds, or does it only collect what it is at that moment? If so, then we're going to have to probably have some arrays that store very frequent values and add them up, because I want it to be frequent, maybe down to like half or a quarter of a second, and that may be the only way to do that. So I don't know. We're gonna look at that next time, but I think that's gonna be it this time. So I guess if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, free to let me know. I'll try to get to you as soon as possible. Of course, if you don't like my professionalism, remember to hit that dislike button. So otherwise, I think that's it. So thanks for watching. Have a good one. Peace. Kind of hard to end this. I think this is it though. Yeah, we're ending for real.